The first two Witcher novels have the most random timelines I've ever seen of anything purporting to be a novel. In fact, these novels feel more like a compilation of short stories. But when I think of other short story compilations like Arcanum Unbounded by Brandon Sanderson or side jobs like Jim Butcher, the first two Witcher novels just don't compare. They really are novels. What sets the Witcher novels apart is that there's very obviously a greater story being told, tying the short stories together. Sword of Destiny takes this one step further and treats its theme, Destiny, like it's the protagonist. And just like the Netflix adaptation, Geralt is just along for the ride. To see this concept completely, we need to first spell out what the journey of a protagonist typically looks like. Most stories built under the three-act structure begin with an inciting incident, or the moment when the protagonist's journey starts and they develop a motive for action. An example of this is Harry Potter receiving a mysterious letter. The inciting incident also kicks off Act 1, which follows the protagonist as they act under this new motivation. For Harry, Act 1 is all about discovering the contents of this letter and finding out he's a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Act 2 usually shows a shift in desire. The protagonist develops a new motive, resulting in a new set of actions. Harry has discovered the contents of the mysterious letters and now wants to learn as much as he can about being a wizard, and in doing so learns about the Sorcerer's Stone being guarded at the school. Act 3 is the climax and the resolution. Harry knows someone is stealing the stone, so he and his friends go after them to try and save the stone from getting into the wrong hands. Though it doesn't appear to, Sword of Destiny follows three-act structure when you look at Destiny as the protagonist, not Geralt. We're doing a deep dive into the Sword of Destiny, so there's a mega spoiler warning, obviously. Our tale begins with the first short story, The Bounds of Reason. The inciting incident occurs as Geralt learns there is a hunt for a dragon, and among the party is a certain dark-haired sorceress named Yennefer. Geralt decides to join the party. Destiny's existence in this first story is subtle, but sets the tone for Destiny's entire journey. The first moment I want to point out is a conversation between Geralt and Yennefer. "Why did you come here, Geralt? Surely not because of the dragon. I presume nothing has changed in that regard."
"No, nothing has changed."
"Why then, I pray, have you joined the party?"
"If I said it was because of you, would you believe me?"
The second moment is a line from the dragon himself. He says, "It is written all over your faces. I don't even have to try to read your thoughts. You were made for each other, you and the Witcher, but nothing will come of it. Nothing. I'm sorry." Yennefer responds, "I know, but I would like to believe there are no limits of possibility. Or at least I would like to believe that they are still very far away." This is so important because it sets up Destiny as a choice. Geralt and Yennefer, whether they like it or not, have chosen certain destinies. Geralt has chosen to defend good from evil, not just kill monsters, and he has chosen Yennefer. Yennefer has chosen Geralt and life as a sorceress, and both have chosen a life of infertility, but they hope that that is not their destiny. Despite the writing on the wall, they choose a different destiny from the one that so obviously should be theirs. And now that Geralt and Yennefer have made their chosen destinies clear, Act 1 continues in full swing. The next short story is about Geralt discovering that Yennefer has another lover. Geralt and Yennefer fight about their relationship, and in the end, Yennefer leaves both men behind. It highlights the fact that while both men choose Yennefer, she chooses neither of them. Specifically, she rejects their claim of her. Destiny as a choice has failed because not everyone's choice can be fulfilled at once. So now we move into Act 2, and we're going to see a shift in Destiny's motives and actions. In the third story, Eternal Flame, we follow Geralt and Dandelion as they deal with a shapeshifter taking on the identity of one of their friends. At the end of this story, we learn that many of these shapeshifters are taking the place of different members of society after they pass away to survive the purge of non-human intelligent life. This short story shows the inconsequentialness of an individual, further solidifying the power of something like destiny. It both takes life and gives life. The next story, A Little Sacrifice, starts with Geralt translating for a nobleman as he asks a mermaid to grow legs and join him on land. Furious, the mermaid says something akin to, "Why don't you grow a tail and gills and join me in the water?" That evening at the nobleman's party, Geralt meets a female bard and sparks fly. Over the next few days, she falls head over heels for Geralt, but he cannot reciprocate those feelings. Even in this moment, he is choosing a destiny with Yennefer. In the end, the mermaid chooses to give her life in the sea for the nobleman. When asked why she chose to do it, she says, you guys ready for this voice? "What kind of love would it be if the one who loves were not capable of a little sacrifice?" Sacrifice. This book is so beautiful. Hold on to Sacrifice because it's coming back. The final story in Act 2 is called The Sword of Destiny. This outlines a chance encounter between Geralt and a young princess named Ciri in the dangerous Brokilon forest. We eventually learn this is not just any princess, but the very princess that was promised to Geralt in the previous book, his child of surprise. Witchers will sometimes agree to do work for someone in exchange for them to give the thing waiting for them at home that they aren't expecting to be there. Geralt used this agreement in the previous book and helped free a man from a curse, who then returned to his lover, the princess, to find out she was pregnant, making this baby, who we now know is Ciri, a child of surprise, and Geralt's child, according to destiny. The entire concept of the child of surprise is built on sacrifice. For Geralt to have a child to train to become a witcher, someone must sacrifice their own child. In the forest, the leader of the Dryads speaks of the child of surprise concept. She says, "Give me what you possess without knowing it. Isn't this familiar to you? In this way, you have tried for some time to change the course of destiny in search of the young boys that destiny offers you for your succession. You try to avert death and oblivion." Referring to the end of the Witchers. This short story is where we get the majority of the conversation around destiny. Ciri, afraid the Dryads will kidnap her, says, "I want to go with Geralt. I must. With him." "Why with him?" asks the leader of the Dryads. "Because he is my destiny." In my reread of this, I get the vibe that this is a child who knows of the promise her father made to Geralt, not necessarily the act of some kind of divine destiny, but who is really to say? Later, the leader of the Dryads tells Geralt, "The sword of destiny has two edges. You are one of them." There are so many ways to interpret this, but personally, I call back to the themes so far presented around destiny: life and death, birth and destruction, beginning and end. And Geralt, throughout the entire series, spares some and grants death to others. And his connection to Ciri keeps her alive in so many ways. Next is an exchange between the leader of the Dryads and Ciri. "Child of old blood, choose. Do you prefer to stay in Brokilon or follow the path of destiny?" Ciri breathed more rapidly. Her cheeks took on color, but nothing more. Nothing. "I want to follow the path of destiny," said the little girl, looking the Dryads straight in the eye. She chooses to stay with Geralt, which in my read is setting her up as the other edge of the Sword of Destiny. Throughout this series, Ciri is connected to death over and over, but I would say she is also birth, new life. She grants that to Geralt and Yennefer over and over. Act 2 comes to a close as Geralt finds Ciri's traveling party outside of Brokilon. The short story ends with Geralt leaving despite being told he cannot escape Ciri. "I am your destiny," Ciri cries. "There is no destiny," he thought. "It does not exist. The only thing that everyone is destined for is death. Death is the other blade of the double-edged sword. I may not expose you to that, Ciri. I am your destiny." Act 3 takes place within the final story, Something More. It follows Geralt as he meets a merchant on a dangerous road. A monster comes and Geralt says he will save the man and slay the creature if he will promise what he does not expect at home to Geralt. The man agrees, although he guarantees there will be no child waiting at home. In the act of slaying this creature, Geralt is severely injured and he goes in and out of consciousness. When he's out of consciousness, he's having flashbacks of moments with Yennefer and moments with Ciri. And when he finally really awakes, the merchant takes him home with him to give him time to rest and to repay him for his help. On their way to the man's home, they stop at a monument the locals have erected to the mages lost in the Second Battle of Sodden. Even after reading the entire series, this scene still kind of confuses me, so I'm going to do my best to lay out the details. A woman with fair hair and blue eyes is also at the monument. "Who are you?" Geralt asks. She smiled and emanated cold. "Don't you know?" "Yes, I do," he thought, gazing into the cold blue of her eyes. "Yes, I think I do. I've always wondered what you look like, my lady." "You don't have to address me like that," she answered softly. "We've known each other for years after all." "We have," he agreed. "They say you dog my footsteps." Destiny or Ciri? I do, but you have never looked behind you until today. Today you looked back for the first time. And this is the climax. Destiny as acceptance. Geralt leaves the hill, which kind of seems like it didn't even exist at all, and continues on with the merchant. They arrive at the merchant's home to find none other but Ciri there, escaped from the Nilfgaardian army which destroyed her home. And again, she is the child of surprise. "You found me, oh Geralt. I was waiting all the time for so very long. Now we'll be together, won't we? Say it, Geralt. Forever. Say it." "Forever, Ciri." There are 4 lessons writers can glean from how to write theme from Sword of Destiny. Destiny's journey as a protagonist is extremely tied to Geralt and his own journey with the concept. Geralt goes from chasing what he wants to sacrificing what he wants to finally embracing destiny. Plus, most of the information we receive about destiny is in conversation or Geralt's inner thoughts. For my novel The Fourth Wall, the main theme is a question of hero or villain, good or evil, blessed or cursed. My main point of view character, Andrzej, is out to prove that his country's beloved heroes are actually villains. My secondary point of view character, which is actually a character in Andrzej's book, was born with a curse and struggles to see himself as anything but cursed. The characters are the ones exploring the theme, not me. Every conversation about destiny is personal and within the context these characters have living in their world. There's nothing worse than feeling like a story is actually a proponent for a message to the audience. The Help is a brilliant example of this done well. While it has a real world context, the theme of racism within that movie, yes, I haven't read the book, is all contextualized within that moment of time between those characters and their struggles. While I did have some real world inspirations for my themes in The Fourth Wall, the idea of blessings and curses is based 100% in how they appear in Tar Hollow's world as types of magic and cultural labels. The same is true for Andrzej's desire to villainize his country's heroes. Exploring these themes through their eyes and their worlds has been so much more interesting for myself than if I tried to develop a theme outside of the in-world context and give my audience a message. Theme works best when it's explored. In The Sword of Destiny, we examine destiny as a choice and how those choices might contradict each other. We saw the inevitability of destiny and the inconsequentiality of an individual. We explored sacrifice and finally acceptance. I'd give an example from the fourth wall, but I don't want to spoil too much. And that brings me to the structural notes. 4. Use the different sections of your novel to explore the theme in different ways, bringing them together in the third act. Sword of Destiny explores destiny within the construct of the short stories as well as the 3-act structure. In Act 1, we explore destiny as a choice. In Act 2, we see the inevitability of destiny and learn the power of sacrifice. In Act 3, all the elements we've explored combine to reveal the final aspect, surrender and acceptance, as we see Geralt choose to sacrifice his wants and desires and surrender to the inevitability of destiny. I am excited to look at my manuscript for these elements in my next read-through and check it against my research. I have had this idea for a video for a long time, and I'm so glad I finally made it happen. I learned so much about theme from this study. What's something that stood out to you? Yeah, I liked that too. Sorry, Dora moment. If you enjoyed this video, check out another. I left some suggestions in the description. More Witcher, more writing tips, more on structure, or watch whatever the YouTube overlords say you'd like the best, right here.